What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks in the NBA playoff streets. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Only one game to break down for Thursday. I want you to know it's my Minnesota Timberwolves Game 6, trying to stave off 4 straight losses, trying to keep going here in the middle of this season. Whatever just happened against Joker. Oh, my Lord. That guy is so incredibly good. Obviously, this program will always look fondly on Nikola Jokic because he made us a ton of money in the playoffs last season in the triple-double market. Hasn't really showed up here on that card, I think, all playoffs long, which is pretty insane to think about. But that just tells you where the numbers are at. But the numbers look a little different for this one. I'll talk you through lean like lock, but there's going to be no lock here on this one. I have 2 likes for you. They're going to be coming to the table. So 2 things that I have a half unit on, and then we'll get the heck up out of here. So won't want to waste your time with anything else there. I think you know by now, NBA playoffs going really, really well. Peyton Pritchard, 6 points here in that first half for the Celtics. Hopefully he can close that out. We need 3 more to cover that 8.5, 7.5, depending. Well, it was always 8.5, but I saw somebody posted like an alternate slip in the whole thing. 8.5 was the primary number, so don't worry about it. But worry about signing up for Odd Shopper because that's a great opportunity right now. $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly. Again, that is recurring for everybody there. You get the tools, you get the Discord. And the Discord, friends, that's where you can get my premium betting card of the MLB streets. If you have questions, the NBA streets, we're firing that up. Obviously, this program's been doing a good job of keeping everything afloat. And obviously, as we've gotten to fewer games, pretty easy for me to just focus on the MLB for a lot of people in that premium Discord, but been firing all these bets up in the NBA streets, doing a lot of fantasy shows here myself. So if you ever have questions, hit me up on X at Eric Lindquist. But if you sign up for Odd Shopper, you can hit me up in the Discord and ask me questions all the time. And if you use promo code Lindy, yes, Lindy, Lindy, God, I hate my picture. Expert picks, Discord, premium tools, all those great things, all the great fixings, all in one package. Again, down at the link below, 20% off, promo code Lindy, less than $2 for your first week. It would be per day. Look at that. I can do math. Now, with that said, Game 6, Minnesota-Denver at the Target Center. Producer Jacob, I'm terrified. I'm terrified. Let's get to the picks. I am not a well person as we go to Game 6. It is Minnesota hosting. You lost both games at home there. Remember when everybody was talking about Minnesota? Minnesota became favored to win the West. Minnesota, they're going to just run amok. Minnesota, you're so lucky, Eric. Everything's great. You've never seen the script, friends. I've seen the script my whole life. I'm a Minnesota sports fan. Apparently, my parents tell me that when I was a month old, they took me to the World Series, and we won that in 1987. And then I get to go as a 4-year-old in 1991. You remember how much I remember from either of those experiences? Jack Diddley Squadoosh. I only know pain and misery. I only know sadness. And once you know it, Nikola Jokic just wanted to remind everybody, I'm that dude. I'm him. You ain't him, Rudy Gobert. And sure enough, he did it in just outrageous fashion. I haven't seen that good of a second half from an individual basketball player in a really, really, really long time. Now, it doesn't show up the way that when you watch Kobe or Michael Jordan heat checks, where it's 18, 20-footers, mid-range, crazy athletic dunks, try real hard, stick out the tongue, doing the stuff. Like, it doesn't look like that with Jokic because Jokic kind of looks miserable out on the basketball court while he is tooling with dudes. It is so wild to watch. It breaks my brain. But I think the story just of that Game 4 is just, the Game 5 is just how much better Jokic is than everybody else on planet Earth. 40 points, 7 boards, didn't even really get involved there, and 13 assists. My Lord Almighty. Now, a couple of interesting footnotes that don't have to do with Jokic. The first one is Michael Porter Jr., 36 minutes for him. Actually, I'll save that a little bit because that's going to be in the lean section. But Christian Brown ramped up to 28 minutes there. Jamal Murray plays 41. But again, they are basically playing a 7.5-man rotation. Jackson played 7 minutes. Justin Holiday's played himself into meaningful minutes here as well. 15 for him. Peyton Watson was in for like 0.2 seconds. He's an afterthought. But an interesting rotation note to have Christian Brown close this game over Michael Porter Jr. Now, the numbers are starting to adjust because if Michael Porter Jr. isn't going to knock down shots, he's not a great defensive piece to have out on the floor. I think we're all aware of that. Plus, because of the size of Aaron Gordon, don't really have to have a Michael Porter Jr. out there at 6'10 for rebounding purposes only or something of that nature. Can be a good rebounder. He had 7 boards. It is in that game 4. Sorry, why do I keep saying game 4? Game 5 it was. But we all know by now that Michael Porter Jr., defensive liability, can get ripped off the floor, and that has led to more Christian Braun minutes. So we're going to start in the lean section with Michael Porter Jr., and I'm actually looking more towards the over if I were going to do anything with it. If I'm looking at correlating a card or a single game parlay, which I've talked about quite a bit here, where we've stacked up the threes in conjunction with certain players, I think this is an interesting one potentially to buy low on. Now, I don't feel good about it, which is why I haven't bet it yet, but the numbers are bearing out some positives. Michael Porter Jr. shot the ball terrible over the last 2 games, and only 14 shot attempts. That's not typical of Michael Porter Jr. 4 buckets total over the course of that. 10 points total in 71 minutes. That isn't Michael Porter Jr. like, but you've had Jokic and Jamal Murray exclusively playing this 2-man game. They're hiding Michael Porter Jr. a little bit in the corner there. And again, if he's not knocking down shots, you can rip him off the floor for Christian Braun come clutch time. That's kind of what they've been doing here in a couple of these spots. So I find it to be fascinating. But when push comes to shove, he averaged 17 points per game during the regular season. This is a pretty low number, obviously, relative to that. Speaks to how good defensively the Minnesota Timberwolves are, especially at the wing positions, even though we haven't necessarily been guarding him with a lot of wings. It's been, hey, if Nasri's on the floor, put him out in the corner, put, a 3 or, put Anthony Edwards out there from time to time. It depends. Nickeil Alexander-Walker on the floor allowed for some different defensive matchups. There's lots of places that you can check for that. But overall, probably not going to be firing this one up. We'll take a look at the numbers as they go into tomorrow. Christian Braun, not all that interesting at his numbers as well, but the points props have obviously treated us very, 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 very well. And as such, wanted to at least bring that one up. But I told you already, no locks that are going to be here on this card. So this is going to be the majority of what we talk about. These 2 plays right here. First one, Denver money line. I hate the fact that this is something that I think is actually a good bet, because I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, but kind of covers my heart a little bit, where if Minnesota surprises me, comes out and plays a really, really gritty game, I'm going to get paid off, to just in terms of my happiness. But that doesn't do you, the viewer, any good whatsoever. So I'm going to talk about what it is that I've seen the last couple of games that has led me to believe that Denver at plus 110 is good value. First off, you just saw them beat them twice there in Minnesota, but Mike Conley questionable is a big deal, because when you start breaking down this basketball team with Mike Conley on and off, it is definitely a difference, offensively especially. Obviously, he's not the largest dude at 6'1". He's been in the league forever, though, but a 36-year-old with an Achilles/calf issue, whatever they're calling it here these days, plus 1.9 on the offensive end, 89th percentile in the NBA. Floor general is one way to maybe describe it, but a 7.4 estimated win share, that is nearly 90th percentile in the entire NBA over every single player. We're comparing that to an Ant who's at 13.6. Jaden McDaniels, who defensively, again, he's sitting there at 3.7, but the value of a Mike Conley is nearly identical to a value in terms of estimated wins on dunks and threes to Karl Anthony Towns. That's pretty important. So we're missing a pretty large piece there. We saw the minutes for Monty Morris there. They weren't great minutes. He did play all right at the end of that second half, or sorry, the end of the first half. And in the second half, we just started getting completely murdered by Joker, but it is what it is. There's not really an answer that Gobert is going to have for that. And that's going to lead me to this. Defensively, 3 straight games where they're going to the high pick and roll. Jamal Murray, Jokic. They dip it down to Jokic, and then Jokic makes a decision. I'm either going to go straight up into Gobert, or I'm going to have a cutting Aaron Gordon, a cutting Christian Braun coming back to the perimeter. And it's like I'm taking crazy pills, because it's truly been the same play now for 2 straight games entirely. It started working in that game 3. Jamal Murray got confidence. Then we started cutting it off. We started cheating on things, and that led to the 13 assists here. And now we've seen Jamal Murray's assist numbers dive off and dip off drastically compared to the regular season. That speaks to how good Minnesota is defensively, where they can kind of control that. But they're basically saying, Joker, go get yours, and we'll figure out other ways to slow you down. We'll slow you down on the boards. We'll do other things. But if Aaron Gordon shoots it perfect like he did in the game 4, and in game 5, you have Joker go completely ballistic for 40 points and offensively getting everything you wanted, making fadeaway, well, not even fadeaway threes, just stop, pull up in the face of anybody threes, we're going to have a long day. I think we're going to see Joker triple-double here in this spot. This feels like them just putting the clamps down, You got a you got a Dallas OKC series that is going to go back to Dallas here. Don't know the results of that one here yet, but buying yourself a little extra rest compared to whatever that game 6 is going to be here for Oklahoma City and the Dallas Mavericks over the weekend. It's a big deal for Denver, who has been nursing injuries, specifically to Jamal Murray. He's looked better as the season's gone along, but extra rest, you'll really want to put the clamp down, and I don't think we can really do it at the points number. Really don't think I can do it right now with the assist numbers that are kind of inflated, but I think the triple-double market is still something that's pretty darn fruitful for anybody who wants to partake. Again, are you getting the best numbers on planet Earth on Nikola Jokic here in this spot to triple-double? No, you're absolutely not, but it's constantly gotten better because he hasn't done it since April 27th. I have on my sheet plus 140 closing number, plus 105, plus 170, plus 140, plus 150, plus 220, plus 180. He is up to plus 250, and it's purely because of the rebounding numbers sitting at 11.5. Again, I understand the assist numbers are inflated here, but they're still at 8.5. I suppose that's kind of an advantageous play, but I love plus 250 opening number over on FanDuel here. Borderline lock for the people, but I'm just going to keep it in the light category because you don't really have to bet that much on plus 250. Feel like you're getting it in good. So lots of information there in a short amount of time. Don't have a lock. I'm not going to lock a plus 250 triple-double for the people, but really think that's a great combination. Maybe just play the all Joker thing, 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 10-plus assists with the Denver money line, and they move on with their lives. Somebody's going to do that now that I just said that out loud. So good talk. Glad we had it. On the way out, friends, BetMGM. You can sign up for that down below. Get your exposure to another great sports book, only for 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this lovely little single game slate we have going. Again, it's my Minnesota Timberwolves. God help us all. But I'm going to bet Joker because he's pretty good, and he hasn't triple-doubled for like 3 weeks, and I think we're going to make some money on that. Feels good? Feel great? Yeah, that's going to happen. Welcome back to the land of the living, friends. Thank you, producer Jacob. Awesome stuff per usual. Until next time, let's just keep this train rolling. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Thursday.